Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me today. This is what I've been making today. It's short and sweet today because I'm still recovering from the flu. So today I've made this vertical Z-fold card, which just opens up thatwards and then closes up again so that it can stand upright on your shelf. It's very, very quick and easy to make, and stay with me, I'll show you what I did. This is a piece of lovely lipstick card. I've cut it to 11 inches by 4 inches, and with the long edge at the top of my scoreboard, I am going to score it at 2 3/4 of an inch. And at 5.5 inches. And now I'm going to burnish those folds. So first halfway and then back the other way. And I don't know if you can see, but that is where I got it wrong the first time. I scored it in the wrong place, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to cover that over in just a moment. This is a piece of the designer series paper. This is from the Neutrals. It's the basic, one of the basic black patterns. So here's my piece of designer series paper, which is from... This is a piece of designer series paper, which this is from the Neutral stack, and it's the one of the basic black patterns. And I've cut it to 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then I've cut it in half at 2 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to try and keep these pieces in the same orientation as each other. And I'm just going to apply my liquid adhesive onto the back of my card, and I'm going to start by pressing this up so that it is right up against that fold. Okay. And now this piece, same thing with the liquid adhesive. And again, I'm trying to keep my pattern as seamless as possible, so I want this to look like it's never ever been cut. Just one piece of paper. Myself somewhere to... Am I alive? Yes, I am. So I've got somewhere to write a message on the inside of my card. I've cut down one of our note card envelopes, so I've cut that to 3 3/4 of an inch and by 2 5/8 of an inch. And I wanted to use the envelope paper because it's a little bit less bulky than the Whisper White card. And I'm actually going to use the note card that kind of came with it. I'm going to be using that to do my stamping on. So everything will work together nicely. Okay, so that just needs a little bit of time for my adhesive to dry. Going to begin by stamping the dog outline, and I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black. It's a photopolymer stamp, so I can see right the way through to the block to where I'm stamping, and I'm stamping down towards the bottom right hand corner of my card, and I've got my squishy mat underneath. And I'm just giving that a little bit of time for the ink to transfer. And I have a nice clear outline of the dog. Right, now I want it to be a Dalmatian. Excuse the rustling noises while I get the next stamp out of the box. So the next one I'm going to be using is the it's kind of the spots of the dog. So I'm just going to line this up pretty much with the dog's outline. And then pick that up on my block. And again, ink up. I wanted to do a Dalmatian kind of dog because when I was growing up there was a Dalmatian dog that lived, I suppose he must have lived nearby to where we did, and he absolutely adored my sister, and he would follow her home from school, and she didn't like it at all. She would come running in through the door like, you know, 1,000 furies were after her. And the next thing you'd see would be the dog would put his front paws up and look in through our front window. And this little dog reminded me of that dog that it absolutely terrified my sister. And here we are. And I've got the dog builder punch, and I'm lining that up pretty carefully with my stamped image. And punch. And there is my Dalmatian dog. I'm sticking with the Happy Tales stamps, and I've chosen for my sentiment just for you, which I think is quite funny. And I've got my my stamp inked up, not inked anything up yet. Start again. I'm sticking with the Happy Tales stamps, and I'm going to use this sentiment just for you. I've got it onto my block. I'm just inking it up with my Memento Black and lots of light tapping, and this time I'm stamping over onto this side of the card. And I'm not going to do anything fancy with this. I'm just going to trim it out with my scissors. Could have got the classic label punch out if I'd wanted to, but I'm just going to keep this nice and simple. Okay, and while I'm still stamping, I'm going to use this little stamp here, the one that's like a little paw print. And I'm just going to stamp a couple of little paw prints on the inside of the card. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. One more paw print, why not? And I'm just going to leave it at that so that when you open the card, you get the little doggy footprints. I'm going to go and do some cutting and some embossing with my Big Shot, and I just want to take a couple of minutes just to talk you through what I'm going to do, because the order in which you make your sandwich is important. All right, and if you already know this, you can skip ahead, it's not a problem, but I just want to make sure that you understand the difference between what you need to do when you want to cut and what you want to do when you want to use your dies for embossing. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need in both cases is your standard platform. If you've got the kind with the tabs, then for cutting you would close all the tabs. If you've got this kind, which comes with the adapter, then you're going to need your thin die adapter. You need a cutting plate, your paper, and the die that you're going to cut out and another cutting plate, and you crank that all the way through your big shop machine, and you can come all the way back if you want to, and you will then have a die cut piece. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to emboss it. Okay, and the sandwich is a little bit different, so I want to have a sort of a frame within a frame of my die cut piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the adapter platform off my base platform. If I've got the kind with the tabs, I'm going to open up all the tabs. So I'm just working on the base platform. I'm going to have my cutting plate, my card, and you're going to need to pretend that this is die cut. And I've got the cutting blade facing into the card. I'm going to turn that over so that the blade is facing up. You with me so far? Next thing I'm going to need is my silicone mat, and on top of that my embossing plate. Mine is black because I've had mine for a very long time. The ones that you can get now from Stampin' Up are white. It's the same thing, okay? And I have written on mine the order in which I need to put things so that I can remember it, and I've also written on it no adapter plate. That's important because if you try to run it through with your adapter plate, you may break your machine. So here's my lovely lipstick card, which I've cut and embossed, and I've put some dimensionals on the back of it, but I've only put them in the kind of the top half because I'm going to line this up so that the oval goes over the fold. And the idea is that it will try and hold that in place, okay, which it does. And I'm going to put my just for you sentiment underneath it here at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my little dog, and I'm kind of trying to decide whether to mount a piece of basic black and pop the dog onto it, and I think that's too much. So I'm going to just pop my dog right on there. You know, I feel that it needs a little bit of something, but can't quite figure out what. So I'm just going to kind of leave it as it is. And there we go. Nice, simple Z-fold, vertical Z-fold greeting card. So there it is, that is my finished card. Quite short and I hope sweet today. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do let me know what you've enjoyed about it in the comments box below. Click the thumbs up, why not? Why don't you? If there's something that you think I could have done better, tell me that as well. You know, help me improve. But that's it for today. Thank you once again for staying with me to the end of the video. And yeah, I'll be back again sometime soon. Bye bye.